Leonardo da Vinci. 3.
Leonardo started keeping a sketchbook in the early stages of his career, apparently with the aim of improving the quality of his artwork. He soon began using notebooks to document all his diverse interests. He would first make sketches or write notes on loose sheets of paper before arranging them in notebooks. As he wrote backward from right to left, the notes cannot be read unless you hold them up in front of a mirror. The reason why he used this mirror writing remains a mystery. Some people have suggested that Leonardo wanted to keep his notes private, while others have suggested that it was easier for him to write in reverse because he was left-handed. At any rate, the text is mainly used to explain the pictures, indicating Leonardo's preference for illustration over the written word. Leonardo left all his notebooks to his favorite assistant, Francesco Melzi. They are thought to have comprised thousands of pages. After Melzi's death, the notebooks were gradually divided up, scattered, and lost. They remained largely unknown until the 19th century. Over the years, 5,000 or more pages have been recovered and are now preserved in museums, galleries, and libraries around the world. The British Library has even made images of their collection, known as the Codex Arundel, accessible over the Internet. Leonardo's notebooks are often described as the first surviving notes of a scientist, because they contain many characteristics of modern science, such as fieldwork, laboratories, instruments, and the application of mathematics to physical problems. Many of his insights anticipated scientific research by centuries. Leonardo's approach to science was far ahead of his time. He wrote that, although nature begins with the cause and ends with the experience, we must follow the opposite course, namely, begin with the experience and by means of it investigate the cause. Due to this belief in the importance of experience, Leonardo is said to have used the scientific method before it had even been invented. 4 of the major themes among the amazing range that he covered were mechanics, anatomy, architecture, and painting. Leonardo had always been interested in understanding how machines worked, so that he could improve existing ones or invent his own. He was valued as an engineer in his day and often provided advice on technical matters. He produced a number of useful inventions, such as devices for drilling and lifting. Many of his more fanciful inventions were related to his fascination with birds and flight. Leonardo loved birds and would sometimes buy them at the market just so that he could set them free. He analyzed the structure of their wings and tried to copy their ability to fly. In Leonardo's view, the bird is an instrument functioning according to mathematical laws, and man has the power to reproduce an instrument like this with all its movements. He had many ideas for flying machines with wings that flapped up and down like those of a bird or bat. While his designs were truly innovative, they were not always practical. From an entry in his notebook, we know that Leonardo planned to fly a model of one machine that he had designed. Although there is no record of the actual experiment, the inventor did make a later note to himself that future experiments should be conducted over a lake in order to avoid injury. Few of Leonardo's inventions were constructed in his lifetime, but he sketched his ideas with such remarkable clarity that others have been able to build models of them centuries later. Such models can frequently be found on display alongside his notebooks. In June 2000, for example, a man called Adrian Nicholas tested a parachute built from illustrations and explanations in one of Leonardo's notebooks. It was a huge pyramid-shaped device made of canvas and wooden poles, weighing about 90 kilograms altogether. In Leonardo's day, tests would only have been possible from a tower, cliff, or tree. Nicholas, however, tried it from a hot air balloon at a height of 3,000 meters. He reported that the ride was very smooth, even though he did use a modern parachute for the last 600 meters, because he feared that Leonardo's parachute was too heavy for a safe landing. The study of anatomy is another dominant theme in the notebooks. Leonardo was interested in both the structure and function of the human body. He recorded his observations in his notebooks by devoting one or more pages to a particular body part and illustrating it from different perspectives. His detailed anatomical drawings would have been quite revolutionary in his day, when doctors still relied heavily upon textbooks and tradition. Even today, they are seen as the basis of modern scientific illustration. There is one particularly famous drawing in Leonardo's notebooks that brings together his study of proportion in art, anatomy, and architecture. Known as the Vitruvian Man, it depicts a man whose arms and legs are spread out to touch the circumference of a circle and the edges of a square. The accompanying text paraphrases the ideas of Vitruvius, a Roman architect in the 1st century BC, who believed that a temple should reflect the perfect proportions of the human body. Although Leonardo was not the first person to illustrate Vitruvian theory, he was possibly the first to do so by drawing a figure that adopts two different positions within the same image. Leonardo also wrote at length on the science of painting, and may have been intending to publish his work. He never did so in his lifetime, but some of his writings were published in 1651 under the title A Treatise on Painting. Leonardo considered art to be the depiction of natural effects through an understanding of their causes. In his view, scientific rules were essential in art for depicting the proportions and movements of the human figure, aerial and linear perspectives, or the effects of light and shadow. Both science and art were ways of exploring and understanding the world around him. Leonardo da Vinci is often regarded as a symbol of the High Renaissance, a period that reached new heights of artistic and scientific achievement. Less than 20 paintings can definitely be attributed to him, but they have influenced generations of artists after his death. With ongoing research into the notes and sketches in his notebooks, we are gaining more and more insight into one of history's most celebrated minds. Both his paintings and his notebooks are a precious legacy that will certainly continue to fascinate and inspire people all over the world for centuries to come.